What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today is just a random chat with you guys. Well, not random, it's an important chat, getting to know me a bit better. I was recently asked this question a couple of weeks ago. How did I learn to get around in life? How did I cope with the challenges of growing up in a big world environment, and with people taller and with objects hard to reach and all that stuff? You know, what I've always said is you just got to learn to adapt. When I was being brought up, my parents were very good. They just let me do my own thing and cope the way I wanted to cope. If things were out of reach or out of place, obviously help would then be given. But I was very lucky in being given the freedom to do my own thing. Like if I saw a tree and I wanted to climb it, I would climb it. Obviously, my mother would be in a panic, but it was that experience that allowed me to grow as an individual. When I wanted to play sport, I played it because I thought, well, I believed that I was just the same as every other person out there. I didn't see my height as an issue, but obviously as I learned to grow up, I started to realize that, okay, this is becoming a bit of a problem now. My friends are growing taller and I'm pretty much staying the same height. So that, from an adaptation point of view, was tough, but you learn to understand it. Example was, I was in grade 5 or 6, playing the under 11 team, and all my friends went up to under 13 and I stayed behind, and that was hard. That was a hard little challenge because I wanted to be with all my mates, and they were all moving forward and I wasn't. And I suppose that was the moment where I realized, okay, I'm different, but now I need to adapt. The good thing was, I was the senior of the under 11 team. I was captain of that soccer team when I used to play soccer. So I was able to still grow with by leadership and all those qualities, and still play the sport. But it was tough because your friends go up and you stay where you were. But again, you've got to learn to adapt. Tough at the beginning, but it's one of those things. It's the challenges of being a person with a disability or with a height difference and all that stuff. There are many challenges, but you've got to learn to overcome them. See the positive side. The positive side, I was the leader of the team. I was still playing. I wasn't kicked out. I was still playing. Still given the opportunity to succeed. Those were positive sides. So I wasn't thrown out. I was just kept back because I wasn't growing. I eventually made that team the next year. But now, looking back, I understand it. But that was a tough challenge. But you learn to adapt. Getting around the house, obviously always challenging. Luckily, counter height. Well, now I'm fine. I can reach things. Obviously, certain things. For those who know me well, I often walk around with tongs to reach for things. So I would, if it's a medicine or if it's a cool drink from the fridge, I'd take tongs, reach, boom, bring it in, make a plan. Step ladder's my best friend. Constantly with it because I needed to get around. Bedroom wise isn't a real issue. Bed is a normal size. I can climb on it perfectly. My good excuse was to make a bed's quite tough, because you don't have to reach the corners and all that stuff. But that excuse didn't last very long. Cupboards wise, in this house we were quite lucky. Cupboards are low, so it hasn't been a problem. Previous house it was high, gain, step ladder, chairs, climb. I was a climber when I was younger, so I kept sticking around to that phase so I can get to things. School, the school adapted to suit me, kind of thing. The table, I kept a smaller table until I hit high school. Then it was all normal. I had a footstool for my legs so I could climb on if it was a bit high. But again, once I hit high school, that all disappeared. I was using all the equipment that every other kid at school used. all to my decision. I was asked, do you want? And I said nope, because I was stubborn. I want to be just like everyone else, and yeah, learn to adapt. Varsity pretty much the same, work life the same. Doesn't really affect me much. It's just really, guys, at the end of the day, it's reaching for things. And those are your challenges. As I said in my previous video, clothes. Pretty much quite a few things like pants, certain long sleeve shirts need to get tailored. But again, one of those are really just light disadvantages or challenges. But you learn to adapt. Shirt wise, I'm not really a problem. I don't mind a sleeve being a little extra long. Doesn't affect me. It's who I am, who I've always been. So again, pretty much just learn to adapt, go with the flow, and just let it be. Car, as you've seen in the previous video, it was modified for me. Still learning how to drive and all that stuff, but it was all modified, hand controls and all that stuff. The video is in my collection, but I'll leave a link below for it, so for those who haven't seen it yet. So again, yes, we have our challenges, but you learn to adapt, you learn to cope, you get confident enough to do these things. But it also depends on how you're brought up. Some people are brought up very protective. Parents are protective, didn't let one do things. But I was lucky, I was allowed to experience those things. If I fell, learn to get back up and probably do it again, but differently, to help yourself not learn from that mistake. So all in all, there are challenges. Sometimes things are harder than others, but you learn to adapt, you cope, you never give up. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, a bit different, but it's important questions that need to be answered, but also to help other people understand a bit more about me, how I coped around with life. And again, please feel free to ask away. I don't get offended, unless you're being silly with the question, but go ahead, ask away. I'm happy to answer more questions. I know there's a lot of people out there who would like to ask, but are too shy to ask. Go ahead, I'm an open book. So yeah, that will do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down there, please. Stay safe, never give up, keep believing, and I'll see you guys real soon for another video. Cheers.